I want to know if you guys saw the photo of Wemby in China.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
No, I ain't seen
He's
that.
bald. He was at the
He
Shane.
went to a monk retreat.
Yeah, he went to a
Shaved
monk
his head.
retreat. When you see that, what's that saying to you?
That's it. I'm locked in.
That's the number one. If you really want to be truly great, that's the number one quality that everybody seems to have. Just maniac competitor, wants it so bad.
He probably has the most driven personality, other than I would say Wemby is the only other person that I can think of that when I watch them, I'm just like, there is singular focus in this person.
When you add his athletic ability and his competitive attitude, you have a very special guy.
When looking at the modern era of NBA basketball, the universal respect for NBA history from the players as well as the fans simply is not there. And looking at active coaches, active players who are veterans in this league, they say the standard league-wide has dropped off precipitously the past decade, heck, even the past 15 years. And if you want to know why the NBA has fallen off so hard, it's because the younger NBA stars, NBA veterans, know nothing about NBA history and the standards of the past.
No, because I actually don't think LeBron is, the go to basketball. I think my go to basketball is Paul George.
Who?
What about All-Star? All-Stars. Like, what do y'all want them to do? So when I see people talking about it, it's like play harder, and it's just like, why?
Why are you the way that you are?
Now, looking on the bright side of things, when it comes to young NBA players, they're not all like that, and there are exceptions to the rule. As looking at someone like Victor, he is wired different than almost any player in the NBA. As looking at last year's All-Star game, as a first-time All-Star and newbie, this guy took the game seriously and actually tried when veteran star players didn't and were lackadaisical at best.
Not here to make friends. It's, I know not everybody thinks like that.
What did you learn about Victor Wembanyama as his teammate this weekend? And did he seem more into it than most? He seemed like really competitive out there.
Yes, competitive, smart, like an interesting guy. I heard he goes to bed at 9 o'clock.
For someone like Victor being 7 foot tall, all the talent, skill in the world, what impressed me the most is his mentality and his mindset relative to his peers. And the one highlight from this All-Star game, it actually involved Victor and Kyrie Irving. As Kyrie in an ISO, kind of mixed Victor, got the best of him, still missed the shot, but an absolutely filthy move. Victor right there actually trying and playing defense when he's guarding Kyrie Irving is what you love to see, what you want to see. For a lot of players nowadays, what they fear the most is getting embarrassed and hurting their brand. For someone like Victor, he couldn't care about that. He wants to play basketball first and foremost. He's a basketball player. When you want to pinpoint a great NBA player, you look for things like height, measurables, their shooting, ball handling, things like that. When you want to look for an all-time great, they virtually all have that. The one big-time separator is what's upstairs, their mindset, mentality, and their attitude to want to get better and to want to compete.
He played to win, and that's Victor. He was locked in, as we like to say. That's doesn't surprise.
If you ask me, someone like Victor, kind of a spice of Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan. As much like Duncan, kind of quiet, reserved, and a silent killer. But then like KG, an absolute beast in off-season who puts everyone on notice. And luckily for Victor, both those guys are emerging as mentors for him in his NBA journey.
Tell us a little about your dinner with David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Manu Ginobili last night.
In probably a couple hours, I learned more about the NBA than in my whole life.
Man, Wemby is scary. Wemby. I look at Wemby and I'm like, man, do he even know where he can? Like, can you imagine if he invested in like a Hakeem Olajuwon tape?
When you have someone like Victor who's a physical anomaly, who's highly skilled and talented, but also has that mindset, that is a big-time separator a lot of guys simply don't have. And for someone like Garnett pairing Victor, Western Conference GMs have to be shaking in their boots. Victor last year 1 and year 2, improved in almost every category. His scoring average up by 2.9, rebounds up by 0.4, blocks by 0.2, true shooting percentage up by 3%, and turnovers actually went down. Victor's year 1 and year 2 bump was pretty noticeable, but in year 3, it's been an absolute explosion. The only thing holding this guy back is a Bill Walton, Greg Oden type injury that derails his career. As looking past injury luck, This guy's mentality, mindset, desire to get better, it's there every single day and every single summer. Now, staying in Texas looking NBA rookie, we have Cooper Flagg. And Flagg, much like Victor, has that mindset, mentality, and work ethic to an all-time great player.
Every indication is that this guy is a maniac worker. He went to Duke a year early. He left Maine a year early after like 2 years there where he was just dominating. Actually, it might have just been a year. And he's just way ahead of schedule by design. And he's just an insane worker.
I knew he was special, but because they had so much talent, I didn't realize how special he is.
Yeah.
And this kid plays every play hard.
That's the number one thing with him. And that's the thing you read from literally everybody who passes through his life in some capacity is maniac competitor. They say that over and over again.
When you add his athletic ability and his competitive attitude, you have a very special guy.
In the era of social media, personal branding, personal image, having guys like Victor and Flagg who are basketball first, second, and third is completely refreshing. And looking to the 2030s, if guys like Victor and Flagg are the face of the NBA, I guarantee you, playing hard in the All-Star game, playing all 82 games, that standard once again will be established by those two guys due to their work ethic, attitude, as well as mentality.
He probably has the most driven personality, other than I would say Wemby is the only other person that I can think of that when I watch them, I'm just like, there is singular focus.
Now, stopping that right there once again, Flagg, much like Victor, has a natural talent, raw skill to be a great player. But for his mindset, dedication, it's also there. This guy being 18 years old as polished as he is a rare thing in league history. And looking at his one lone year at Duke, this guy's first half of the season compared to the second half, it was completely night and day, as he made that clear midseason jump from January to March into a marquee player and the first overall pick by a pretty wide margin. As looking at Flagg those 3 months, 21.2 points, 7.2 boards, 4.6 dimes on 54-45 and 87 splits.
Damn, this white guy can play.
If you don't watch Duke basketball, follow college basketball, those stats are simply absurd. And compared to Flagg's first 3 months, a drastic improvement. So what's my point? Someone like Flagg having that mindset mentality, even as a rookie, he's going to shine pretty brightly. It's like we see over and over again, a lot of these young NBA players have the talent and skill, but upstairs, it's not there.
I had a kid, dog, at halftime. Now, you know we rebuilding, right? We in New Orleans. I ain't even going to say the kid name.
Yeah.
We're down like 18 at the half. He had a nasty dunk. We coming out for the third quarter. This motherfucker done posted his dunk on his joint.
Stop it.
At halftime. At halftime, bro, we down 18.
You got to optimize those numbers.
When you hear stories like that from an active NBA coach or a young NBA player, texting, tweeting on their phone at halftime, it just makes you realize how far the NBA's fallen in a very short time period. And here's my hope for the 2030s. I hope guys like Victor and Flagg are just so dedicated, just so all in on basketball, that players on the entire league, setting their example, their standard, they up their game, the requirements of themselves. All-Star games are taken seriously, players don't low manage and sit out, and they're not texting at halftime, taking the game semi-seriously. The problem right now for this era, the bar's been lowered so much for so long, the young guys coming in nowadays think that bar is the actual bar, when in reality, it's much, much higher. So that right there is the end of the video, and kind of restate very quickly, guys like Flagg and Victor, they're the exception to the rule right now in basketball. Hopefully in 10 years' time, those two guys, when they're their absolute apex, they'll be the standard league-wide, the bar every player after them has to live up to. As always, thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.